Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back. I'm the Tilted Crown Gourmet. I'm super excited that I've been invited to participate in another collaboration, this time with the Inquisitive Farm Wife. And this is Pumpkin Palooza 2025. So if you're ready, let's roll up those sleeves, let's get some prep done, and let's get cooking. I want to remind people, don't forget to like the video. That helps with the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe and tell your friends. We're really trying to grow the channel, and if this content gives you some tips and tricks or just entertainment, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe and share with your friends and family. It really helps the channel. To start, I'm going to be making pumpkin donuts. Now these are baked pumpkin donuts versus fried pumpkin donuts. One might say, well, why bake them? Well, with a pumpkin donut, you have a lot of liquid. So you have your pumpkin puree, which is obviously a liquid. You have oil, you have egg. Therefore, I believe with this particular donut, with the pumpkin donut, to get the most pumpkin-y flavor, it's best to bake these donuts, because otherwise you're going to be trying to fight the liquid content in order to get that nice crispiness of your donut. To start, we have our bowl. Now I have pre-weighed my contents, and I'm going to, I got the wrong bowl, honey. I'm going to use the bigger bowl. So I've pre-weighed all of my contents, and my video editor, because he's absolutely fantastic, he's going to be putting the amounts in grams as well as cups on the screen. All of these ingredients are sifted because we want to make sure that we don't have any lumps. We're going to start with our flour, then we're going to put in our baking powder, our baking soda, our salt, and our pumpkin pie spice. Now, I make my own pumpkin pie spice. However, you can definitely use a store-bought pumpkin pie spice. And then we're just going to sift all this together because we want to make sure that we don't have any lumps. Right there at the bottom. So what's there is my salt. My salt's a little bit coarse for this particular sieve. Gonna set that aside, and now we're gonna take this bowl and we're gonna set it aside, and we're gonna do our wet ingredients. So to our bowl, we're gonna add in our pumpkin. Now, you can do store brand, however, I do recommend Libby's. And the reason I recommend Libby's is because of the consistency. It's a really consistent product. So we have our pumpkin puree. Next, I'm gonna add in our sugar, and that's our granulated sugar. Then I'm gonna add in my brown sugar. Now remember, all of these ingredients have been weighed. We're gonna add in our egg, and of course, we don't want any shells. We're gonna add in our oil, and last but not least, we're gonna put in our vanilla. And we are gonna give this a whisk. Now this is a wonderful recipe if you just really want something in the morning, because it comes together so quickly. And there we have it, no lumps, and this came together really, really well. Next, we're going to add our wet to our dry, and we're going to mix this. Now, what's important is that you only mix this enough to incorporate your wet and dry ingredients. What you don't want to do is to overbeat or overmix your dough. And the reason you don't want to overmix it is because you don't want to activate the gluten in the flour. Because if you do that, you're gonna end up with kind of dense, chewy donuts versus the light, airy donuts that we're going for. So we just want to incorporate that flour, and once that's incorporated, we stop. Okay, so this is done. Now for our next step, what we want to do is we want to use some release spray. Now this particular one is Pam, but there are others. This has flour in it, and it just helps keep your donuts from sticking. Now, granted, this is a non-stick pan. However, it's just a little extra insurance. And a lot of people don't have piping bags. Therefore, I'm gonna show you a little trick. Just get a Ziploc bag, get it, and you want to fold it, and then get your batter and just put it into your Ziploc bag. And then we're gonna use the Ziploc bag as a piping bag. Now, people sometimes will try to spoon the batter into the mold. However, that gets kind of messy. It just really gets kind of messy. So I definitely recommend that you pipe it. There we have it in. Get our batter. I'm gonna push it down, and I'm gonna use this corner. So I'm gonna get and cut this corner off. And what we want to do is we want to fill our molds about 3/4 of the way full. Now we are going to put these in the oven for approximately 12 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 185 centigrade. So even though I'm putting them in for about 12 minutes, I'm going to check them after 10. And what we're going to do is to make sure that they're done, you can insert a toothpick in to the center, and if it comes out clean, your donuts are ready. Now while those donuts are in the oven, let's go ahead and make a couple of different toppings. One is you could utilize sugar and cinnamon, or in my case, I'm going to utilize sugar and more pumpkin spice to give it a little bit more of that pumpkin spice oomph. And it's the sugar, your spice, and you just give it a nice stir. Try to get all those lumps, if there's any lumps, get those lumps out, because we don't want lumps on our donuts. Oh, this smells so wonderful. So that's topping number one, and we're gonna go ahead and set that aside. Because of course, these are baked donuts and they're not fried donuts. Some people may say, oh, well, how is that gonna stick? Usually when they come out of the oven, you can get you use the hot donut, the sugar mixture will stick. If it doesn't, melt a little bit of butter, brush it very, very thinly on top, and then utilize the sugar, because then the butter, it becomes the glue. Now my next topping, I am going to be doing maple syrup bourbon glaze. So to our powdered sugar, which I did weigh, we're gonna be adding in our maple syrup. Don't forget, utilize real maple syrup. Then I'm gonna add in my bourbon and just a smidge of salt. Now what you could do as well, you could skip the bourbon, you could utilize brown butter, or you could utilize milk, or you could utilize water. It all depends on you. And what's important too is just do a little bit at a time. Now if it's a little bit dry, you can add water or milk. I would not add any more bourbon because you don't want it to be overly strong. So mine's a bit dry, so I'm gonna be adding, well, I was gonna add milk, but they've drank it all. So I'm gonna add water. Like I said, just a little bit. This smells really yummy. Now with your glaze, you could do a thicker glaze or you can do a really thin glaze. I'm gonna do a glaze that's a little bit on the thicker side because I'm not trying to dip my donuts in it. That's what we want. So we have that nice glaze. See, like I said, I wanted it a little bit thicker because I'm going to spoon my glaze onto my donuts. Now, we just simply wait for them to come out of the oven. Here we have our donuts. Now, as I said, we want to go ahead and, while they're warm, get them and put them in our sugar mixture. You can see that does stick. And we cannot forget our glaze. And the reason I don't want to dunk these is I don't want a lot of crumbs. Nice and toasty. And the wonderful part about the glaze is, especially after a couple of days, if you have these in the refrigerator, the liquid portion of the glaze will really kind of seep in to the donut, and it just really helps to enhance the flavor. But again, it's 100% up to you. Do you want a glazed donut or do you want a donut that has the sugar and spice? 100% up to you. So let's give this a try. First off, look at that. Doesn't that look wonderful? It's nice, it's light. Very good. Next, we're gonna try the glazed donut. Now remember, this is a bourbon maple glaze. That's wonderful. What you could do is, in addition to the bourbon maple glaze, you could absolutely add a little bit of brown butter, which would add some nuttiness to it. Nevertheless, these are absolutely fantastic donuts. It's that time of year, pumpkin pie spice time. So I highly recommend that you give them a try. They're super easy to make. You can put them together very quickly in the morning. In 15 minutes, you can have freshly made donuts and a lovely cup of coffee. Until next time, don't forget, I release new content every Friday. I'm the Tilted Crown Gourmet. Remember, your kitchen is your passport to the world, allowing you to explore diverse cultures and cuisines right from home as you explore new flavors and techniques. And as always, bon appetit.